what makes America the greatest nation on earth is people like us who believe in hard work, who love freedom, people who love opportunity. There are a lot of places you can go in the world to get a handout, but in America, you get an opportunity, and that's what Americans love. That's what brought us here. That's what we're also a God-fearing people. We believe in something bigger than ourselves. Even those that don't believe in God believe in a purpose-driven life. We're also a people who, we're family-oriented. We love our kids. We are willing to sacrifice for our kids. We love our grandkids. We're family-oriented. And we're a patriotic people as well. I don't think it's coincidence. I don't think it's coincidence that when I was at the Olympics, and you may have seen the Olympic Games in 2002, there's a jacket from the Olympics in 2002. They take the person that gets the gold medal. Oh, there was a hat from 2002. Anyone else there? Oh, there's another. Oh, look at all the hands of those that were there. The athlete that wins the gold medal stands on the highest platform of the podium, and they play the national anthem of that athlete. And the kids from around the world, as their national anthem is being played, typically are saying, we're number one, or they're standing respectfully. The kids from our country that win the gold medal, almost without exception, put their hand on their heart. And you can see them. Usually they're singing the words to the national anthem as it's being played. And sometimes they get the words right. This is, by the way, you see sometimes a lot of tears as well. And the reason those tears are shed is not because they think they're the best in the world, but because they're honored. They're honored to represent the nation that's the hope of the world. Yeah. This is a great and generous people and a patriotic people. Now, where does that come from? Where does that come from? It was a long time ago. My wife Ann and I were with my dad. And my dad had lived quite an accomplished life. And my wife said to him, "Dad, what was your greatest accomplishment?" And I wondered what he was going to say. You see, he was born in Mexico of American parents living there at the time. They came when he was about 5 years old to Los Angeles, and then to Idaho, and then to Utah. And he didn't graduate from college, but he went on to be head of a big car company, which I thought was a pretty cool accomplishment. Even though they made Ramblers, it was still cool. And then he went on to become. You bought one? I'm sorry. Can I help you out? But you bought one too. So he got to be head of a car company. He also wanted to become the governor of Michigan 3 times, governor of Michigan. And then he ran for president. Didn't win that one, but became a member of the presidential cabinet in Washington. Came home and founded an effort to encourage volunteerism around the country. So Ann said, "What's your greatest accomplishment?" And without any hesitation, just like that, he said, "Raising the 4 kids, you 4 kids. That's my greatest accomplishment." And that's why we're convinced that the most important work going on in America today that will shape our future is the work that goes on within the 4 walls of the American home. And so if I'm president, I'm going to take that inspiration from Ronald Reagan and George Herbert Walker Bush and other great Republicans around the world, around the nation, who believe in strengthening our military. I'll add at least 100,000 troops, get more funding for our troops to make sure they're safe, successful in the battlefield, and make sure we give our veterans the care they deserve when they come home. And I'll also strengthen our economy by keeping our taxes down, by ending illegal immigration. And also by getting us off of our dependence on foreign oil. It's time to really become energy independent. I think our better teachers are underpaid. I want to pay them more. We have strong families and people know they have good health care. I want people to have health care, not socialized, but private health care. And I want our kids to understand that before they have babies, they should get married. to know I take inspiration from the people in this great country. I'm just going to end with a brief story from the Olympics, just to remind you of how much the American people represent in the world and how much they convince me that our future is bright. It's in the heart of our people that I see people who I know will always lead the world. We were at the Olympics and there was a woman there named Vanetta Flowers. Anybody know her? Heard that name? There's a hint. Oh, you don't, but all right. I'm looking. You're only 8. You wouldn't know her. No, you're 12. How old are you?
9.
She's 9. I got close. Vanetta Flowers is a bobsledder, women's bobsledder. We had the first women's bobsled in the history of the Olympics in Salt Lake City in 2002. And Vanetta Flowers was not on the first team. That was Jean Racine's team. She was on the second team, second sled. We knew the first team would get a gold medal because they were winning all over the world in the World Cup. The second team, on that second bobsled where Vanetta Flowers was brakeman, we hoped we might get a bronze medal, come in third. The brakeman, by the way, is the person that gets the sled going. She's the one that has to have the strong legs that gives it the big push at the beginning of the track. Well, just before the Olympics occurred, Jean Racine on the first team said, you know what, I want Vanetta to leave her sled and come join me on my sled because I need her strength to make sure I can get that gold. And we all wanted her to do that because we knew that if Vanetta would leave that second team and go to the first team, we'd for sure get a medal, and we wanted more medals for America at our games. She'd been training with Jill Bakken if she went over to the first sled. But if she got that gold medal, she had to think, I'd be the first of 2 women in history to get a gold medal in women's bobsled. And I'd be the first African American, male or female, to get a gold medal in the Winter Olympics. A lot of medals for African Americans in the Summer Olympics, but she'd be the first in the winter. And so she had a tough decision, and she said, I'm staying with my friend. I'm putting loyalty and friendship ahead of the gold. And she inspired a lot of people. She inspired a lot of people. Now, I'm not sure how many of you watched women's bobsled like I did. But I cared, and our first sled did real well, but the Europeans were doing a little better. And when the second sled that Vanetta was on beat them all, the crowd went crazy. And that night at the Medals Plaza, Vanetta was up there on that top podium, and you may have remember that picture of that African-American beautiful woman with tears running down her face and dripping off the edge of her jaw. And she was emotional as that gold medal was placed around her neck. Emotional because of that story that she knew that we didn't all know. And one more thing, by the way, that she was probably emotional about. She didn't know it either at the time, but she was pregnant with twins at the time. So she's a hero to a lot of us. Vanetta Flowers. You see it day in and day out in this country. People who will sacrifice for their families, people who will sacrifice for their faith, people who sacrifice for this country. I know it's popular right now to be critical of the president, but he has kept us safe these last 6 years. Join together here in Nevada in a great campaign to make sure that Washington understands that it's broken and that we're coming, and that we're going to solve the problems that America faces, that we are going to secure our borders, we are going to solve the problem in Social Security, we are going to have a middle-class tax cut finally, we are going to make sure that, well, that we live by high ethical standards in Washington, we're going to stop the pork barrel spending and the waste, we're going to balance our budget, we're going to do what politicians have been promising for a long time, and we're going to do it together. Because together we can accomplish anything with that American spirit. The hope of the earth. Thank you so much.